Okay, welcome to lesson 7.2, which is the second lesson of our statistics and probability. We're going to be doing what's called the median and the range today. Now the median is the third of the averages, the first two being the mean and the mode, which we did before. So this is the third measure of central tendency. So let's take a look at our temperatures in Edmonton that we had when we started our last lesson. We've got them set up like we did before, 16, 14, 16, 11, and 13. The median is the center number, or the middle number, when you put the data set in order. Now, it doesn't matter if the data set's in order from greatest to least or least to greatest, but it's always the middle point. So it's the middle number when a data set is placed in order. Now we're going to get to what happens when there's an even number and what to do in that situation. But if you take a look at here, I've got 16, 14, 16, 11, and 13. So the median temperature for the 5 days would be the center rod. That's the one that I'm working with here because we have our rods in place, okay? It's going to be the center rod when I arrange them in order. So the first thing I would do, if you're in my classes, I would have taken these and I would have put them in order. And you can see here I've got 11, 13, 14, 16, and 16. They're all in order. If you look at the numbers, the middle temperature is right here, 14. So it's as simple as that. The median temperature for the 5 days is 14 degrees Celsius. That's as easy as it is. Just put them in order, find the middle one. Let's try another one. John went fishing and caught the following fish by their mass: 1.5, 2.3, 1.7, 1.7, and 2.1 kilograms. Because the 1.7 occurs twice, it has to be included twice. You cannot just put it down once. First thing you need to do is to put them in order. And I'll give you a little bit of a hint here. As you write them down, circle them, and that will stop you from making a mistake. Now, there's only about 5 numbers here, so it's not that difficult, but sometimes you'll have more. So the smallest number is 1.5, so I'm going to circle it, and I'm going to write down 1.5. Now I've got 1.7 and 1.7, so I'm going to put them both down. And then I've got 2.1, and then finally 2.3. So I now have them all in order. Okay? Now, which one of the fish is the middle one? If you take a look here, this is the middle one. There's 2 here, and there's 2 here. So the middle number is 1.7, so kilograms. Therefore, the median fish she caught is 1.7 kilograms. Now the mode, we've already done that already. So what mode do we have here? Well, we only have one of them, which is repeated, so that makes the mode pretty simple. 1.7 occurs the most. That means the mode is 1.7 kilograms. Remember in all cases that if you're reporting a mean, a median, or mode, that you should include your units. Okay, let's take a look at the next problem. On the way back to shore, John caught another fish that weighed 2.1. Well, what does that do to the stuff we've got here? Well, going back, and I can put these numbers down. They're pretty simple, but I've got to add another 2.1 in there. So now my fish's order is 1.5, 1.7, 1.7, 2.1, but I also have another 2.1 now and a 2.3. So which one's the middle number now? Well, I have a problem. If you notice, I've got 3 here, and I got 3 there. Technically speaking, I guess you would say there is no middle number, but I can't have that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the 2 middle numbers right here, 1.7 and 2.1. And we're going to calculate the midpoint by finding the mean of 1.7 and 2.1. So since 1.7 and 2.1 are the 2 middle numbers, the median is going to be the mean of these 2 numbers. Well, how do I calculate that? I'll turn your page. I've got the mean. Remember, the mean is equal to the sum over the number of entries, right? I'm going to use the number sign, the hashtag entries. It's a short form. It's allowed. So the mean is going to be equal to 1.7 plus 2.1. There's only 2 of them. So the mean is going to be equal to 3.8 over 2. So my mean is equal to 1.9. Now, if you do this correctly, that number, 1.9, should be between the two numbers you were averaging. If it doesn't come up between 1.7 and 2.1, you made a mistake. So 1.9 kilograms is the median now. The mode also changes because I've added a new fish, but that fish actually is 2.1, which is the same as another fish that he'd already caught. So we still had the 1.7, but now I've got the 2.1 included. So the data now has two modes, 1.7 kilograms and 2.1 kilograms. So when do you do the mean? You do the mean when there's an even number of entries. When you do not need to do the mean when there's an odd number of entries. That's when we're finding the median. So let's take a look at a little simpler set of data. 4, 6, 8, 3, 5, 5, 7. Let's find the median. So the first thing you need to do is to put them in order. So I want you to see if you can do this question. There's an odd number of data, so you do not have to find the actual average. So find the median, pause the recording, and do that. Okay. First thing you should have done is put them in order. And that would have been 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, the middle number, there's 3 here, there's 3 there, which means the middle number is a 5, so my median is a 5. The number which occurs most often, right there, is also the 5. So in this case, I have a mode which is 5. Now, in the problem above, what would the median and mode change to if each number was doubled? If each number was doubled. So pause the recording, double each number, and find out what your answer is. Okay, if I double each number, the numbers now become 6, 8, 10, 10, 12, 14, and 16. I just went up to each one of those numbers and doubled them, multiplied them by 2. Now take a look. I still have 3 and 3, which means my median is 10. That's the middle number. Okay, so the median still is 10. That should be the middle number and not the median there. The mode is also 10. It doesn't change also. Okay. So any questions on that one? You can't answer. Okay, so let me ask that, eh? So what happens if I add 2 to each one of these data sets? So let's have you do that. So pause the video, add 2 to each one of those numbers, and calculate the new median and the new mode. Okay, so here's your new set of data. You should have now got 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And again, look at this. The new median is 7. So the median in this case would increase by 2. We added 2 to all the data, so the median increased by 2. The new mode is 7. It also increased by 2. So what conclusions can you make about the changes to a data set and the result in the median and the mode? As long as you do the same thing to every number, the same thing happens to the median and the mode. So as long as the data entries are all changed in the same way, the median and the mode are also changed that way. So if I took the whole data set and multiplied by 10, the median would be increased by multiplying by 10, and the mode would be increased by multiplying by 10. If I took and I added 200 to each one, the median and the mode would also be changed by the same way. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is called the range. The range is right here. It's the distance that you spread out things, the numbers are spread out. So it's how far apart things are. So for example, if the data set was 3, 5, and 7, the range would be how far apart 3 and 7 are. So in that case, we have to use subtraction to find out how far apart they are on the number line. So 7 take away 3 means that there's 4, and that would be the range. So if I had a number line, and here's my 7, 6, 5, 4, and 3, I want to know what is the difference, the distance from here to there. Okay? 7 take away 3. So if I take a look, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the distance is 4. Okay? Don't be confused by the fact there's 5 numbers there. So how do I do this? Well, it's actually just a high number take away the low number. So I've got 1, 2, a 7, a 12, a 5, and an 8. The highest number is a 12. The lowest number is a 2. So 12 take away 2 is 10, so the range here is 10. Okay? Simple as that. Let's try a little bit more difficult number. I've got 1, 76, 98, 101, and 7,372. Do that one there. All right, so the high number, 7372. Low number, 1, so that's 7371. So the range is 7371. So in this case, it's going to be what you did, what you got for your marks. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put all the last 2 lessons together. Mean, median, mode, and the range. And I've given you a data set of 2, 4, 19, 12, 6, 7, 6, 8, 10, 13. I want you to stop the recording and calculate the mean, the median, the mode, and the range of this data set, please. Okay, let's get started. First thing we need to do is set up our formula. So our mean is equal to the sum over the number of entries. So how do we find our sum? Well, it's going to be 2 plus 4 plus 19 plus 12 plus 6 plus 7 plus 6 plus 8 plus 10 plus 13 all over, and there are, I got 10 numbers there. So that means that my mean is going to be equal to 87 over 10, so my mean is equal to 8.7. Don't round it off. Now remember, this is a formula, which means that there's a left side and a right side, so you can't just drop the mean word. You have to have the mean written down every time. Now, the median, we had to put them in order. So to put these in order, this is what it would have looked like. 2, 4, 6, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 13, and 19. I know I'm going quick, but I expect you to have this done. Is there a middle number? Well, if you take a look, there's 10 numbers. It's an even, which means it's 5 and 5, so we have a problem. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the first 5 numbers. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the second 5 numbers. So I need to find the average of the 2 middle ones, and that is this set right there, so 7 and 8. So in this case, I'm going to find the mean, and that's going to be equal to 7 plus 8 divided by 2. 7 plus 8 divided by 2 is 7.5. So there is your median. When you're calculating the middle of a median, don't bother putting down the equation for mean. You have to put it down here when you're calculating the mean, but down here it's not required. Okay, the mode, the number that occurs most often. So I'm going to back up to where I put them in order because that's the easiest way to count them. And you'll see here I have 2 6s, and that's the only ones that basically overlap. So my mode overlap are multiples. So it's a 6, so that means my mode is 6. Now the range is how far apart they are. The largest number is a 19. The smallest number is a 2. 19 take away 2 is 17. So the range for this data set is 17. So let's go back and mark this so that you can see what's required, because this is the type of question where you're going to get everything. Oops. All right, so mean. Formula, substitution, there's your 4 marks for your mean. Place them in order for your median. It's 4 for your mean, by the way. All right, and then of course, because there's this double thing right there, it has to take place. You need 3 for that. Now, mode, got to select it. There's not much I can do there for work. Range, what you did, what you got. Okay, you've got an example of everything you need to know for your assignment. So off you go, have a look at it. If you have any questions, like I said, go back and watch it as many times as you have to. I'll see you next lesson.